Hi, I'm Joan Newcomb, and today's morning musings is don't react dramatically, even if it seems dramatic. Now, I'm recording these daily morning musings, and I am using articles from my blog, Adventures in Density and Effort, as inspiration. I'm starting from my earliest posts, which I wrote a while back, and what I'm going to do is read the article, and if something occurs to me that needs to be updated, I'll interrupt myself and let you know what it is. And the other thing I will do is at the end, I might give a summary and tell you some new experiences that I've had with this. Don't react dramatically, even if it seems dramatic. A few years ago, I learned to not react dramatically, even if it seems dramatic. It started off with some fairly easy lessons that came from being in two plays simultaneously. Anyone who's been involved in theater knows that often there's more drama going on backstage than out in front of the audience. And in times past, I would have been in the thick of it, emotionally belly flopping from one interaction to the other. Yet this time I found myself being at choice whether to react or respond. Reacting is allowing something outside oneself to initiate one's actions. Responding is initiating an action from within to whatever is happening outside. Using one of the plays as an example, I came into the dressing room one night and someone made a comment. Now, this comment could have hurt my feelings if I'd reacted to it. Instead, I made note of it and chose not to say anything and went about preparing for my role. Who knows why that person said what they did? On performance night, nerves are high, emotions are on edge, things pop out of people's mouths by bypassing their brains. If I'd reacted, it could have caused a ricochet of bad feelings bouncing all over the cast. Instead, I didn't take it personally, and I chose not to let it in and not influence me. So I had the energy to focus on what I needed to do that night. It's amazing how many things don't need to be reacted to. They don't need to be responded to right away. Once I received an inflammatory email from a family member, and I took 3 days to respond. I had to read the email 3 times to decipher the message from the emotional attack of the words. It was then fairly easy to give a clear response without creating a new argument. Sometimes it's events that seem dramatic. I had a weekend a while back where several things converged. It was the final performance of a previous play, the final days of a parent's visit. It was the middle of a health concern for me, and I also happened to be moving that Sunday. And that Saturday night, I came home to discover my dog had been poisoned, requiring me to take the last ferry to Seattle from the island that I live on. And then I had to drive south to a different city to an all-night animal hospital. And then I had to drive north to another city to catch the first ferry back onto the island just in time to meet the movers. Somewhere in the midst of all of this driving, I wondered how I was going to manage it all. And I found myself saying, this is not a crisis, it's an event. And somehow reframing it in different terms helped me deal with it by responding rather than reacting to each successive thing that was needed of me. As often happens with life learnings, once you learn the initial lesson, you're given the opportunity to practice your skills on an ever increasing level. When my plays finished, I got to practice my responding rather than reacting with the house I was renting and the house's owner. As the roof began leaking, the dryer broke, black mold appeared inside the house, the front door fell apart. Without any repairs being made, I had many challenges to curb my reactions and eventually responded by choosing to move. Responding rather than reacting means that I've taken time to be clearer about how I'm viewing the situation. I give myself time to notice whether I'm looking at things through slides of the past or through the clear window of the present moment. It doesn't mean not having the emotions that may come up. It just means not responding with ones, especially if they're feeling particularly overwhelming. I find that if I'm having overwhelming feelings, there's a good chance they're coming from past events rather than what is happening right in front of me. I give myself time to either sit with the feelings, meditate or journal about them, or distract myself by exercising, watching a funny movie until I've gained clarity about what's going on inside me. When the lesson is about health, I believe that there's a tremendous creativity between the symptoms and the diagnosis, and that it's completely possible to transform results before they happen. Instead of being on an emotional roller coaster, exacerbated by my own imagination, I choose to respond from a more grounded place, and so far it's been working. I think the other thing I'll say is that I made up this slogan a while ago because I found that there are family patterns where people react very dramatically to things. And I found that if it was dramatic, it was dysfunctional. choosing not to react dramatically was acting from myself as consciousness that didn't take this all so seriously. So it's a useful slogan to have for yourself to navigate life differently instead of from old family patterns. So if you like this video, you can go ahead and like it, and please share it with others, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you look below, there's a link to a free technique called the Skybox technique that you can use to help see life from the perspective of consciousness, which makes it a lot less dramatic and very enlightening. If you want to know more, my website is joan-newcomb.com. I do individual sessions where I can take a look at the essence of who you are and what's going on in your life, and I can answer any questions that you might have. And I can also help with some energetic changes as well. If you'd like to learn how to do this yourself, go to joan-newcomb.com and take a look at my coaching special. It is full of all sorts of consciousness techniques that you can use to transform your life. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another morning musing.